Test it weekly. Fire kills. You can prevent it.
LBC 97.3. Business and Property with James Manx.
And the time has just gone 18 minutes past 6 o'clock. I think it's worth just drawing a line under some of the discussions that we're having in the last hour. Just to draw a line under our housing market discussion. You might have heard, of course, that Fitch have said that the housing market is going to crash again. Most of you seem to think not, however. Sundeep has said the housing market will have a 20% correction. They are overvalued. And Harry Hoffman has sent an email. He seems to be cross because he says, even more horse manure from James Max. As ever, you've got it wrong. You got it wrong 2 to 3 years ago. You've got it wrong again. And then he goes on to say that everything that I've ever said is wrong. What I would say, however, is that I did say to you, dear Harry, in an email, actually, that the housing market would crash if certain things happened. And if interest rates rose significantly, which they did, then we would see a housing market correction. And I also said that it would probably recover quite quickly afterwards. And that's pretty much what we're seeing. So I think we'll draw a line under our discussions on housing markets and all things green and everything else. But thank you very much indeed for all your calls, your texts, your emails on that. But what I would like you to do, of course, is to ask your questions to my experts here in the studio. Kevin Gibbons, he's the head of online search at SEOptimise. And also Simon Mansell is the managing director of TBG. And they are here to answer your questions about the internet. If you've got a business, okay, and you are trying to either make yourself more Googleable, so when you Google, you come up top when you Google yourself or your business, and if you're trying to do some kind of direct response campaign and you want some advice from the experts, now is the time to call 0845 6060 973. For example, if you've got a business and you're simply not getting enough hits on your site, or you've got a brilliant idea and you want to get it out there and you don't know how to do it, now's the time to call. OK, let's kick off some calls right now. Anetta is in Ealing. Hi, Anetta. Hi, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. It's Anita, actually.
Anita. Well, if it was spelt correctly on my screen, chances are I'd be able to say that. It's the oddest spelling of Anita I've ever seen.
I know, never
My
mind.
producer's just giggling at me like a Cheshire cat. I think he's dyslexic like me. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, Anita.
I think he's under stress.
This is obviously some new meaning to the term stress I hadn't previously been aware of. However, right, let's turn to your question and then we'll see which out of Kevin and Simon would be best placed to answer for you.
Okay. Basically, I run a small business. It's basically selling professional services to a very niche market in healthcare.
Right.
I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years now, and up till now it's spread through word of mouth, and that's how I've got my business, so it's very ad hoc. I've got a website, but I want to actually optimize it and increase sort of the customers that I get through this website. And I've thought of obviously optimization, but I'm quite frightened of going for that because it seems to cost a lot of money. And with the random sort of income that I'm getting from my business, I don't know what my options are in terms of trying to maximise business through my website.
OK, well, let's put that through to the experts. Kevin, do you think this is something that you'd like to kick off with in terms of what are the low-cost solutions in terms of if you want to improve your Googleability, what can you do?
Yeah, there are some options which I would recommend. At first, pay-per-click advertising using Google AdWords may be a more sensible option. You could set up a campaign and bid on the sponsored listings instead, like Simon explained earlier. They're at the top and right-hand side of Google. So you could set a budget which is completely in your control and bid on keywords which are relevant to your websites and start sending traffic.
And if you don't know half of what you've just said, Kevin, and you needed some help, I mean, is this the sort of thing that somebody like Anita could come and find you and knock on your door and that's kind of what you do? I mean, Anita, is this something that you've thought about, that you know how to do it, or do you actually need some advice on if you wanted to follow that strategy that Kevin has suggested, that you need some advice on how you actually do it?
Absolutely, I do need advice on how I do it. I haven't got a clue really where to start on this at all. OK. Kevin, we're working on the basis that we're all klutzes and know nothing. Now, I understand what you mean when you say all the pay-for-clicks and the advertising stuff, but if you are new to this, how on earth do you become an expert so that you know even what you're asking for and what you're paying for?
It is very difficult getting started. There's a number of guides available from Google where they will show you how to set up a campaign and get started quite quickly. So this would be a good start, but it may be worth looking to find someone who would be able to help you with the setup during the initial stages.
Anita, who does your website for you?
Oh, well, it was again through word of mouth. I saw someone else's website and I said, who did your website? And I got this young chap to do it for me, and he's somebody that operates on his own, and it's been quite helpful.
So is he the person, Kevin, is he the person that Anita should go and see to get some advice on this web optimisation? Because presumably if he's built a website, he must know something about it.
Quite possibly, but then web design, web development is very separate to the advertising side of things. So in some cases, some people will concentrate on web design rather than the advertising side of things.
And how much?
Which is what this person has done. And I did ask him a few years ago, but he wasn't very forthcoming with the information, and quite rightly said that he wasn't the person to necessarily ask.
Right, okay. So how much should Anita think about spending or budgeting for this if she wanted to improve her clicks and hits and stuff?
Budgeting is completely in your control. So if you set up a Google campaign, you could say you'll allocate £100 to a test and then see how that works. If it's working well, you could obviously increase the budget, but you don't have the long-term costs of SEO where it may take you 6 months to get high results. You can actually test things in the short term instead.
Okay, all right, well, we'll sort of leave that there, because, Anita, although we probably haven't provided all the answers that you'd like, I think the thing is that it's being able to understand, and if you don't understand, then you've got to go and find a specialist who's going to help you do it. But I think what Kevin has suggested is that paying for clicks and also managing a campaign, because I think the obvious thing is that if you do nothing, you won't improve the way that your traffic is handled, or indeed your ability, if you like, to improve your search options and things. Right, Anita, thank you for that. Karen is in Hitching. Hi, Karen.
Hello, James. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I like to think that I'm technically up to speed, but I'm afraid half of what was just said, I had no idea.
Okay.
But you see, that's the thing, that all of us have to do this, and that's why I've got these experts here, because they do understand. So I better hand you over to them. Karen, what's your question?
Okay, it's similar to the previous call. Sorry, I've got a cold at the moment.
Oh, no.
Sorry, very husky. But and I've actually tried the click process, and I'm not saying that it hasn't worked, but I guess I need to look at some other options to try and move my business forward. I'm a one-man band, a small business. I've had it for 4 years. I do have a website. I was really pleased about 3 months ago when... So I did get one cold call from a client because I was on the second page of a web list on training and development. So that was great. But obviously, that's been great, but I need to think about other avenues. And I also need to think about, or I want to think about, how I market my business on the web a little bit more this year, or next year, really. It's not for this year, it's for next year, in terms of how do I make sure I'm ahead of the game. So, in a sense, I've never used marketing on a web before, so I'm kind of nervous.
Okay, all right. Well, let's throw that out. Who would like to grab this one? Okay. Oh, blimey!
Excuse me. Sorry.
Don't go and darn us, Karen. For goodness' sake. Simon, in terms of improving or getting your message out there, what would you suggest that somebody does if you want to increase the traffic for your website?
Karen, can I just ask, do you only service the local area in Hitchin, and what does your business do?
No, I don't. I go anywhere. Anywhere my car will go, I will go, basically. I usually tend to work in... My business seems to be in London and the Northwest, in actual fact.
What's your business?
Training and development. So,
what sort of training and development?
So I specialise in customer service, team building, management development.
Okay.
Those are my 3 main areas.
Okay.
And a bit of sales. And
how happy are you with the way that your website communicates the main selling points of what you do differently to other people, your competitors?
I think I'm happy with... I guess I have to say I'm happy because I actually have spent money in terms of having it designed and developed. And in actual fact, often when I put a proposal in, I'll say, please go and look at my website. And everybody that I've got the business from has actually said, love your website, it really sort of works in your favour.
Okay.
So I think that's right.
That's great, because that's the first step, is to get the actual way that you communicate what you do correctly over to your target audience. So it sounds like you've got that down. So the next stage is just to get more traffic to your website of people who might be interested in your products. Mm-hmm. Have you tried advertising on any like directory services like Yell, for example?
No.
Because obviously they're the places that people might go when they're looking for your type of training services.
So in a sense, what you're saying is that part of Karen's process should be to consider where does big traffic go, who gets a lot of traffic, and make sure that you're on there, and then they click through. Okay, Karen, we'll have to leave it there, but fingers crossed that's at least a little bit of inspiration for you. 0845 6060 973 is the number to call if you want to ask your technical question on how to make sure that your site is clicked on more.
LBC 97.
Leasing a pub can be more than being your own boss. It's an opportunity to run a successful business, and Scottish and Newcastle Pub Enterprises can show you how.